All right, so here's the problem, 9/16 minus 3 over 20, 3/20ths. So when we're talking about fractions, let's talk about the different operations that you can face with fractions. Okay, so we can multiply fractions, we can divide fractions. These operations, when we have two fractions and we're multiplying or dividing, this has nothing to do with the LCD. Okay, has nothing to do with the LCD. Matter of fact, this is quite easy to do these operations. But when we're adding and subtracting fractions, this is when we have to be thinking about the lowest common denominator. Now, sometimes we don't need the LCD, but typically students, when they struggle with fractions, it's because they are confused with the lowest common denominator and they just get really scared of fractions. And typically fractions get a bad reputation, or people don't like fractions. It's like, I hate fractions, I don't want to do fractions. Listen, I get it, but once you understand this and you really have a mastery over it, you're like, oh no, I totally understand it, then it's not going to be so bad. So let's go ahead and figure this out. All right, so when it comes to fractions, again, adding and subtracting fractions, let's just look at two fractions here. So when we have a fraction like 9 over 16 or 3 over 20, we have two numbers, right, that basically make up a fraction. We have a top number and a bottom number. That top number is called the numerator. The bottom number is called the denominator. So here, in this case, the numerator is 9, the denominator is 16. Here, the numerator is 9, and the denominator is 16. So here we have two fractions, a numerator and a denominator, and we want to add another fraction that has a numerator and denominator. So the deal is, when it comes to adding and subtracting fractions, okay, it's basically the same procedure. The bottom number, i.e. the denominators, must be the same number. Okay, so you could see in this situation, they are not the same. So we're going to have to kind of fix this up. But let's take a look at a situation where the numbers are the same, when we have the same denominator. Now, again, when the bottom numbers or the denominators are not the same, that's when you need to be thinking LCD. And a lot of you, if I give you nice easy numbers like 1/3 plus 1/5, you could tell me the LCD. As a matter of fact, a lot of you might be saying, oh, what's the LCD? The LCD is 15. Look, I know the LCD. It's super easy. I'm like, oh, very good, very impressive. But what about these numbers? What if I had 1 over 508 and let's say 1 over 36? What's the LCD? Well, this is where we get these expressions, right? People are like, well, okay, listen, I only want to do math when the problems are nice and easy. It doesn't work that way, but this is not that difficult. So let's go ahead and get into this right now. Okay, so when we do have the fractions are set up with the denominators being the same, like in this particular situation, there's no need for the LCD. Now, let me just go ahead and just tell you what the LCD stands for, okay? So we're going to get into this in detail, but this stands for the lowest common denominator. So CD right here, CD is what? Common denominator. The denominators have something in common. What would they have in common? Maybe they're the exact same number, right? So when you're looking for the LCD, we want to find the lowest number that the denominators can be in common with, i.e. the same. So these fractions right here have common denominators, all right? In other words, the denominators are already the same, so this fraction problem is already set up to solve, okay? It's like going to be so easy to do this. So notice that addition and subtraction work the same way. It's the same procedure. So what you need to do is you just keep the denominator, so in this case it's 5, and then we're going to perform this operation with the numerators. We're going to take this numerator, we're going to subtract it from that numerator. It's very easy. We're just going to go ahead and do this operation. This will be our numerator. So we have 3 minus 1 is 2, or 2/5, and there you go. Okay, so we're going to have to get to this stage and do this, but we can't do this part in this particular problem yet because the denominators are not the same. But as soon as we get those denominators the same, we're basically going to do this step, okay? All right, so now that you kind of see the big picture, let's go ahead and figure out how to find the lowest common denominator. Now, stylistically, some of you might write fractions this way with little angle fraction bar. Perfectly fine to write a fraction like this. but this is equivalent to writing a fraction with a nice little horizontal fraction bar like so. Me personally, you're better off writing, or I like to write fractions this way, but you also see fractions written this way as well, especially like if you're, working with, let's say, carpentry or you're using a ruler. This is a pretty common. Both are perfectly fine. I'm not trying to make any judgments here on it, but I would suggest writing fractions or getting used to writing fractions as horizontal fraction bar like this, because this is basically the way we do this in algebra. Okay, we don't really use this notation much. We kind of stylistically write fractions this way, but they mean the same thing. So let's go ahead and rewrite the fractions this way. Okay, and again, I'm looking at the problem. I'm saying, all right, these do not have the same number, right? So we're going to have to figure out what number, okay, does 16 and 20 have in common, all right? Well, 16 and 20 have multiple numbers. Matter of fact, they have infinite numbers in common. Now, what we're looking for are multiples. Now, I'm just kind of explaining this. This is not the procedure. But what says we have 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. Okay? And then we have 20 times 2 is 40. 20 times 3 is 60, etc. These are what we call multiples. Okay? And I can go on with 16, 16 times 3, 16 times 4, etc. These are multiples. So the lowest common denominator is when we have a common multiple, all right? So if you don't really understand this, that's, totally, I get this because most students don't truly understand the LCD. Another way to think of the LCD, let's kind of go back here. 1/3 plus 1/5, and we know that the LCD, lowest common denominator, is 15. I'm assuming most of you out there do know this because this is a pretty easy problem. Another way to think of this as the LCD, as it's the lowest number that both these numbers divide into evenly, okay? So 3 and 5, they divide into 30, okay? So you could divide 30 by 3, and you could divide 30 by 5, no problem. But this is not the lowest number that you could divide these two numbers into. 15 is the lowest number. So that's another way to kind of conceptually think of the LCD, okay? The LCD is actually the lowest common multiple, okay? Its cousin, the cousin of the LCD, is the LCM, lowest common multiple of these numbers down here in the denominator, right? So, this is very important stuff because in algebra, when you're dealing with fractions with variables, which are called rational expressions, you have to have a real strong understanding of multiples and LCD, etc. So, you're better off learning this right now with arithmetic, and you can transfer this knowledge over when you study algebra. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, so we want to find the LCD. We want to find the lowest common multiple both of these numbers go into, or another way to think about it is what is the lowest number that both of these numbers can go into? Well, we can find that. That is called the lowest common denominator. So what we need to do is find the prime factors of each of these denominators. Okay, so we're going to have to do some work here. Not that difficult of work. We're going to have to find the prime factors of this number, and then whatever prime factors we have between this number and this number. And by the way, if we had other denominators, they're all your denominators, all the prime factors. We have to have each unique prime factor represented in our LCD. So what we're going to do is we're going to find each prime factor, okay, unique prime factor, and then we're going to multiply all those unique prime factors together. The product of all those unique prime factors will be the LCD. Now, this may seem a little bit confusing, the way I explain it. I think when you see this in action, it will be much, much more understandable, if that's even grammatically correct the way I said that. But let's move on, okay? You don't want to learn English from me. Math is my specialty. Okay, so 9/16 minus 3/20. Okay, so again, we're going to need the LCD, which means we need to find the prime factors of the respective denominators. And the easiest way to find the prime factor is prime factors of numbers is to build a factor tree. Okay, so if you've never seen a factor tree, this is what they look like. Super easy. Let me show you. Let's just focus in here on 16, and then I'll go through 20, and then we'll talk about the rest of this. So what you want to do is figure out two numbers that basically two factors of 16 other than 1 and 16. Now you could go, oh, 16 is 4 times 4. That's perfectly fine. You could start that way. Doesn't make a difference how you start your factors. In other words, like 20, I could go 2 times 10 or 4 times 5. Your final answers will be the same. Okay, your factor, the way you factored out your way your factor tree looks might look different than say this, but your final answer will be the same. So don't worry about that. So here we go. So 16 is 8 times 2. Now, these are factors on 16. So you have to look at the factors and you have to ask yourself, do we have any prime factors? Well, 2 is a prime number. So what you want to do is circle 2. 8 is not a prime number. Okay? In other words, I could factor this down further. So let's go ahead and factor 8 further. So that would be 4 times 2. And look, oh, have another prime factor here. So circle that. And so we look at each factor. And we keep factoring each factor that can be factored. So 4 can be factored as 2 times 2. So we're going to circle all the prime factors. So 16 is going to be equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. All right, these are the prime factors of 16. But you always want to express prime factors if you have more than one as a power. It's very, very important, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. So 16 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 to the 4th power. Okay. All right, now let's go to take a look at 20. So 20 is 2 times 10. 2 is prime, 10 is not, so we can continue to factor. So 10 is the same thing as 2 times 5, and these numbers are prime. So 20 is equal to 2 times 2 times this 5. All right, and again, we can write 2 times 2 as 2 squared. All right, so this is really important. And then we have 5. Okay, so we have the prime factors of all the numbers in the denominators. In this case, we only have two numbers. We're only adding two or subtracting two numbers, but if we were subtracting or adding 3 fractions, you could have another number over here. Let's say it was 70, and you would do the same thing as well. Okay, but here is a prime factor. Okay, here 2 squared is another prime factor, and 5 is another prime factor. Okay, so now let's go ahead and build our LCD. So this is where, if you don't follow this little procedure I'm telling you, you can get confused in terms of your final answer. So your lowest common denominator is going to be your prime factors times your other prime factors when it comes to the factors of the numbers in the denominator. So let's go ahead and do the obvious one. 5 is a prime factor, so we're going to need a 5 represented in our LCD. Okay, that is a prime factor. So now we have 2 to the 4th and 2 squared. So the question is, well, 2 is certainly a prime factor. So should we write 2? Okay, should we write 2 to the 4th and then another 2 squared? Which is correct? What should we do here? Because we have to represent 2. Well, here is what you do, okay? All right, so here, this is 2 to the 4th, and here is 2 to the 2nd power. The deal is, when you're building out your LCD, you always take the highest power of the number, okay? So we need a 2 represented, but this is 2 to the 4th, this is 2 squared. You always take the highest power, so that's 2 to the 4th, and then we don't have to worry about that 2 squared. So this is the LCD, okay? So what does this mean? Well, the LCD, the lowest common denominator, is going to be 5 times 2 to the 4th power. And what is that equal to? Well, let's go ahead and figure this out now. So the LCD is 2 to the 4th times 5. So 2 to the 4th is 16. 16 times 5 is 80. Okay. Now, a lot of you might have come up with this answer. You're like, oh, I know it was 80. You know, I didn't need to listen to you ramble for 5 minutes explaining this. But again, all right, what if I made the denominators like crazy? What if I made it like 1608 and 20,182? Okay, if these were your denominator, I can tell you right now, you would not be a happy camper. You might be looking like this. You'd be like, okay, you made your point. Listen, when it comes to easy numbers, sometimes when you're thinking about the LCD, we don't even know why we know the LCD. We're just like, it's this. I just know this is the answer. Okay, but we need a procedure, right? And you need to have a good understanding of what the LCD is. So there you go. So that's the lowest common denominator. It is 80. Okay, so what does this mean now? Well, let me show you, okay? This is the next phase of doing this problem. So some of you out there is thinking to yourself, this is kind of a lot of work to do this problem. Well, yeah, when you truly want to understand it, I'm going to say it's a lot of work, but there is a lot of concepts that we need to make sure we understand. So we have two fractions here. The denominators are not the same. So we're going to write a brand new denominator for both of these fractions, and that brand new denominator is going to be 80. So how do we do that? Well, easy. We need to just rewrite these fractions differently. For example, if I had the fraction 1/2, right, and I said, hey, let's make up a new fraction with a new denominator that's still equal to this fraction. Well, I could write 5 over 10. I could write 3 over 6. I could write 4 over 8. I could write 7 over 14. Doesn't make a difference. All of these fractions right here are equivalent to 1/2. The only deal is they have different denominators, okay? So you can rewrite a fraction with a brand new denominator. You just have to adjust the numerator, okay? So it's this top number we're going to have to make some adjustments to if we want the bottom number, the denominator, to be 80. So let's go ahead and figure out how to do that right now. Okay, so of course we want to make the denominator 80. Okay, so let's take a look at our fractions right here. Let's focus in on this one first. So how do I make a 16 into an 80? Easy, just multiply it by 5. 16 times 5 is 80. If I multiply the denominator here by 5, I got to multiply the numerator by 5. That's how we adjust this fraction or rewrite this fraction such that it has a denominator of 80. So 5 times 9 is 45. So 45 over 80 is the new and improved fraction with this denominator that we want, okay? 45 over 80. If I said, hey, reduce or simplify this fraction, you would go back and reduce it that way. Okay, so how do we turn 8 through 20 into an 80? Easy, multiply by 4. So we have to multiply that numerator by 4, so that would be 12. Okay, so we have 12 over 80. So this fraction now, right here, is equivalent to 12 over 80. And now we are ready to finish up this problem. Finally, we have two fractions with the same denominator, so this is going to be easy. All we need to do is keep one of those denominators, that's 80, and go ahead and find the difference of the numerator. So that'd be 45 minus 12 right there. So 45 minus 12 is 33 over 80. And of course, you always want to make sure that you have a fully simplified fraction, but this is as far as you can go. You can't reduce this any further, and that is it. So at least in my videos, okay, if you're for new to my channel, or if you're new to my videos, what I do is I take one problem and I break things down like super, clear and understand. At least I try, okay? The whole point of doing that is so you can have a comprehension of what's going on. If I just did a bunch of math problems, like here, I want to do a lot of problems all day long, but if you don't really truly understand what I'm doing, you might pick up the pattern, but that's not the same. You might be basically duplicate the pattern, but that's not the same as truly synthesizing this material, truly comprehending this. I've been doing this for a long time because I love teaching mathematics, but I found out a long time ago that the obvious best way to teach math is to really focus on the concepts, build your skills up, not just to say, hey, here's how you do this problem, if that's the way you're approaching mathematics, you're probably struggling, okay? So take a deep breath, learn one skill at a time, but once you learn how to do one problem, all the other problems become much more attainable, much easier. Yeah, you might have more difficult problems, even if I gave you more digits, in terms of the denominator here, you would just simply do the work. A lot of these more challenging problems are more work, but at least you're not going to be lost. Okay, so if you need additional help with fractions, again, 3 suggestions. One, I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel on fractions. That's my first recommendation. Second thing is my Math Foundation course or my Pre-Algebra course. All right, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.